Well, okay. So thank you very much, everyone, to be here today. This is our fourth webinar that we're doing since the pandemic. Like before, we were doing live event, inviting people to come in, go visit some customer, has a chance to see a little bit what they're doing as a production, being able to see what his webcam is doing at these in the side of the facility and share these experience. Like everyone with the pandemic, we had to change a little bit of a way of doing. So this is where we started now doing more a live event, record event to allow you to see customers in place. And we're really pleased and really we have let's say a lot of luck to have customers and great customers to open their doors, their barriers, to show what they're doing as production, allow us to record and also talk about their experience of the implementation of tools like WebCab in their factory. So before we start the factory tour today, I would just like every time just start a little bit by explaining who is WebCab, because for some people they know who we are, other people it's brand new, they don't know who we are. So it's important to understand where we come from, what we did, and why we're there in this industry. So WebCab is a company that has more than 18 years of experience in the woodworking industry. The reason why is when we started business 20 years ago, well, we started by being resellers, of CAD/CAM systems. So we were reselling a CAD/CAM system in the industry for the woodworking industry. So we were really there helping our customers, make them understand how to draw their kitchen, how to push down in the CNCs, etc. As the time passed by, customer has specific needs on specific things that they wanted to accomplish inside of their factory. So we started to look around in the industry, trying to find a solution that could solve their issues. And there was really nothing there that was specified for the woodworking industry. There was software that were generic software that needed to be adjusted for that industry. So this is where we started to developing our own solutions to really fill the need of the industry, of the woodworking industry. So we started creating our software, and the way we were reselling it is that if you were customers of ours, well, we started to show it and really sell it as it's going to go through. So it was not until really 2016 that we started to push more the brand of WebCab and talking about the solution at large, being resell in the United States. Now we have resellers also in Australia and in France. So it's going a little bit larger as we're going through. But the most important thing in my speech right now is you must understand that the software of WebCab has been developed for the industry, the woodworking industry, with the needs of the industry. So we're not trying to be a generic software, trying to make it work into that industry. We're really there to listen. What is your issues? What are your problems? And try to make it fit and resolve these issues and these problems. And this is the way that we will still continue developing the solutions that we have for you guys. So 60% of our development comes from the industry needs, and 40% comes from new technology, new help that we can bring from other industry to help to have it a better solution for us and for you guys to be better in what you do. So that was a little resume of who is WebCab, where we come from, and etc. I go through. So today I'm really glad to have one of our customers, that is François Levesque, from Richard and Levesque, in a woodworking company in Quebec. They're really based on high-end kitchen, high-end fabrication. They're really named also. They have a great reputation on the building they do. They do a lot of finishing also, because a lot of customers say, can we see customers that do finishing? Well, they do a lot of finishing and a lot of custom products, not just regular products in their industry. So thank you very much, François, to be here today. And before we start and going forward, because I know in the presentation, François will talk about what is their real business, their productivity. So we won't necessarily go into deep into that, but I would like you maybe to talk a little bit more about the experience of where did you start thinking about WebCab? What brought you to say, hey, let's jump in with this company and join and jump in that adventure with us?
Yeah, hi, Jonathan. It's nice to be here with you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so I guess the first time that I've heard about WebCab was probably maybe 4 years ago. I think that we were always attending. We have a strong association here among all the cabinet makers. So for the province of Quebec, and we had a chance back then to meet with Marc Candré, who's the founder, I believe, with you, and so Marc-André was always so very passionate about what you guys were doing and so on. So got to understand what he was trying to do, what you guys were trying to do, and it evolved quite a bit. And then a couple of years after that, we had a chance to visit a really nice business also just close to Montreal, Beauregard. And they had already implemented the software over there, and we were quite impressed. So that's when we really decided that we needed that to include that in our production.
Great. Well, it was a great pleasure. And I remember when Marc-André was talking about your shop, about what you guys were building, and try to work together to make things better for your facility. And that's one of the things that was really important for us. It was not just the sale of software, we're making sure that we're able to achieve an objective and a goal together and make you work and have benefits by implementing a software like WebGap going through. And as we're there, what was the real impact of the integration and the production assistant into your facility for your employees? How do they accept it? How did it work for them, or what was the real impact for them?
Yeah, I think quite surprisingly, like it doesn't always go well when you implement things like this, whether it's a software or sometimes I remember the first time we implemented machines like CNCs and so on. So it's very disruptive, right? So, but no, I must say WebGab, they were fully on board. They understood what we were trying to achieve with that, and it went very well. I must say, you guys did an amazing job to help us out to implement the software as fast as we could without causing too much trouble in the production. So, and I think the employees, they definitely saw the benefits quite fast. So, which is actually funny because I mean, when Beatrice, she came, it was in July, I believe, when we did the video. I mean, you'll see probably some of the employees were there. They were involved. They were participating quite nicely with with Beatrice, and so it was a good signal for us. We're quite proud about it. It completely goes with what we're trying to do. We're, like you said, we're completely niche in the high-end residential industry of kitchen, bathrooms, and so on. And I'll explain that through the video anyway. And I hope people enjoy it. I'm not a professional doing this. I'm not being paid to do this. I'm doing this because I'm very happy with the software, and I couldn't say no when you guys asked me.
I so like that. And what you were saying about Beatrice being on site, that was amazing, because when she came back over there, she was explaining to me how the employees in the shop were explaining to her how the system was working, and were proud of talking about how it helped them every day-to-day business towards that. So yeah, that's amazing to hear that it really helped at that level. And really, Francois, we're really thankful for you to open up your doors like this and share your facility with the peoples. And I think that's just something that will help a lot for the industry, being door open like this, and sharing these solutions for others to be able to improve, and talking also, because when you're showing something, it's always important to be able to display also what was your past issues, what did it solve, being wide open with these questions and answers. We really appreciate it. Unfortunately, Francois cannot stay with us all the presentation because we got a flight to take going back home, but we really thank you very much for being here with us, and putting a little bit of an introduction of these questions, and took the time really to create that presentation with us. So thank you very much, Francois, to be here.
You're very welcome, Jonathan. Again, thank you, and I hope people will appreciate this short video, and maybe we'll see you in the near future.
Thank you. So I'll let you go, Francois. If for one or other reason people have specific questions they would like to have for him, just be pleased. I didn't mention it below, but inside the section of the Zoom meeting, there's a Q&A section where you can type in your question. Beatrice's role is really there to spy the question, making sure that we will answer it at the right moment. So inside of that presentation, we do have specific moments that we will answer your question. So don't be offended if we don't answer it at the right moment, at that time, sorry. We'll do it at the right moment, and making sure we don't forget them as we're going to go through. So what I'm just going to do, 2 little seconds, I'm going to start the video. Yes.
Just a little thing. I think you have your keynotes and it's blocking the microphone. So we cannot hear you very well. So just maybe you move your keynotes.
Okay, maybe I'll need that. you don't
Thank
see
you.
me correct, you don't hear me correctly. Yeah, is it better right now or?
Yes, it's better. Thank you.
Okay, great, great. Apologize for that. Let me know if you need something else. Before I start the video, do we have any question that came in, Beatrice, that we need to answer there?
No questions for now.
Perfect. So let me start that video and we're gonna jump in at the right moment to resume some section of it.
Great.
Hello, let me introduce myself. My name is Francois Levesque. I'm the president of Richard and Levesque Kitchen and Fine Custom Cabinetry. Richard and Levesque was founded in 1999. It was me, but my partner Steve Richard, who Steve is a cabinet maker by trade, and so Steve has a lot of knowledge in production. He's, I would say, for many people that know him in the industry, he's very well recognized and with all his knowledge. So my trade is more the sales administration, as I said. So for us, it was a perfect match when we decided to work together back in 1999. Now we're located here in Saint-Augustin, so this is in the suburbs of Quebec City. So rapidly we decided, me and Steve, that we wanted to be specialized in high-end products. So for us, residential is strictly what we do. So we do high-end kitchens, bathrooms, custom cabinetry of any sorts. So, and now where our market is located, it's still most part located here in Quebec City. Montreal is a huge market for us too. We also have a showroom in Laval, just a little bit north of Montreal. And we also have quite a bit of work now in the GTA in Toronto. So yeah, and to permit us to provide this quality of work, I mean, we have strong values. So we have the values for us is excellency, it's integrity, respect, and teamwork. So, and speaking of our team, we have now over 40 employees, very strong people, very knowledgeable, very good in all they do. So we cover all aspects of what a business needs, right? In terms of, we have our own accounting, we have our RH department. So, but most of the people that work for us in production. So, and speaking of production, we many years ago, we started working with Cabinet Vision. For us, it was a game changer for us. But in the last 3 years, another game changer came across, which is webcam. So we're very happy today to be able to show you how we've integrated the software, especially webcam, how it permitted us to really bring us to another level in terms of productivity. So yeah, so let's have a tour and let's have a look at it. Okay, so we can start the visit of the factory. So we're starting here. This is the expedition, and this is also where I believe we're going to be finishing later on. So the factory here was built in 2003. So as I said previously, we started Richard and Levesque in 1999. So the factory 2003 was built. We expanded it by 2 times. We expanded it, so now we have 20,000 square feet of floors for production. So you will see that we'll see actually where we have 2 CNCs that are actually BSC CNCs. Quite happy with it. Recent, everything is recent here. We have the drilling part where it's done by the Wiki, which is also OMAG. After that, we have the edge bender, Brent, OMAG. We have the equipment where we're putting in place the cabinet, which is also OMAG. So, and to be able to provide all this work, we've been working with Cabinet Vision, Planet. So we're again very pleased with them. We've been working with them for many years. I would say maybe probably close to 15 years, if not more now. And so we innovated quite a bit with Cabinet Vision. So, but through this whole process, through this journey, we realized that we needed to work with another software. So this is where WebCAD came in place. So we discovered WebCAD through the Association of Cabinet Makers of Quebec. So we saw the software, we're quite impressed with it. Then after that, some businesses accepted, just like we're doing today, to open their doors and to have other businesses coming to visit their installation. And we could see how they integrated WebCap. Quite impressed with it, and we quickly realized that was the solution that we needed to permit us to go from something that was we started from the base, right? We were we developed our own system. So WebCap permitted us to have something that was a lot more automated, more intelligent. So to have something that was more synchronized, to permit us to have parts that was having tracing of all those parts through the process this production. So we saw gain coming in place quite fast. So, and now we have over 40 employees. This is working hand in hand with this software and everything we've done. So we're quite pleased. The employees are happy about it. It permits us to have this upgrade our quality and making sure the workflow is ultimate. And yeah, so the quality of the product just went over like this. So quite happy to have a tour with you and to permit you to discover how we've put this whole thing in place. Okay, so we're here at the CNC. So this is the first stage, right, of production. So we're receiving. That's all the receiving that we have of all our panels, whether it's melamine or wooden panels, so on. So everything is placed here in the right sequence. That's a small pile. We can imagine sometimes it's quite heavy, quite thick. So we know exactly which sequence we want those panels to go in the CNC. So we have something that will generate all the labels. Those labels are generated by Cabinet Vision, but the nice thing is Cabinet Vision and WebCap are working very well together. So the barcode is generated for Cabinet Vision. WebCap, it's on the same label. So therefore, when it goes to the CNC, all the cutout is made of those parts. This is when the part, the virtual parts become real. So once it's coming out, the output of the CNC, every parts are scanned. So this is where it starts. First step of knowing to be able to trace those parts. So we know it's there. It's been made, it's been done. So after that, so we know exactly, in fact, how many parts were cut out through the day. We know where it is. After that, it flows to the production. So we know where it's located, where it's at. Everybody knows in production with CNCs, we know that unfortunately there's parts, there's movements and stuff. So there's parts that need to be remade. So or anything can happen so that they get damages. They get damaged. So nice thing is with WebCap, once we scan any part, it's good to go, it's good to go. It's damaged, all right, it's damaged. Now, what's the reason why it's been damaged? So that we can have statistics on the reason why, which is quite nice, right? If we constantly have somebody dropping those parts, well, we might look into it and see why he's dropping the parts. I know it never happens, but no, it does happen sometimes. But anyway, the reason is, and the main thing is, it's nice to know. So after that, we know that it's going to be moving to the other things. Another thing that is nice is that we can quickly, if we have a part that needs to be remade, any remakes we have to do, we can quickly extract this part from the optimization that we do. So we have a second CNC, which we'll see, and that CNC, it's quite nice to be able to simply make all those outputs that we'll be doing through the day. That CNC also permits us to do when we have clips. This is where we do it. So it's a little bit more versatile. This CNC needs to go. It needs to practically, we don't like to see it stop. It is not running right now because it's too noisy and the guy went on lunch. But when it's going non-stop, we're quite happy about it. So this is it.
Before we go even a little bit further with the presentation, I'm just going to resume a little bit what we just talked right now, what we just saw with the CNC aspect, and what really WebCap brings up really at that level for that machinery, for that station over there. So with Richard Levesque, one of the biggest points we wanted to know is when a job has been started to be cut. So for real there, the system allows you to know when the job starts, because we do get the information back to the office knowing the part the job has been started. We're also able to know how much part is being done. So when you want to do some objectives, some KPIs, some counting, you're able to have these information. But the real key benefits that we want to bring up, one of the biggest thing is that what you're seeing right there is one on the screen, you saw the optimization result of what is going to be cut into the nesting machine. So even if the labels are generated, let's say in this case, by Cabinet Vision, but it could be Microvellum or other CAD/CAM. Well, in this case, the labels are generated by Cabinet Vision with the automatic machine. There's still a screen that was displaying the result of the nesting. Why? Because the operator, if a part was broken, can quickly say which part has been broken into the pattern and automatically notify that there's a damaged part over there. So we don't have somebody writing it down on a piece of paper or sticking labels on it to try to go back to the office to let them know that, hey, we have some remake to do. Everyone is aware that there's something damaged, so we don't start working on something that we won't be able to accomplish or finish because we know that there's something missing. And we don't have people walking around trying to search that part because we know that this part is missing. The other big advantage in their case at the Richard Levesque is that they have a dedicated machine that is there for remakes and service calls. So what's happening is that when a part is being called damaged, before, when we sent down the job from the CAD/CAM system, in this case with Cabinet Vision, well, we sent automatically regular programs to that CNC over there. So Cabinet Vision sent the optimization and sent at the same time all single programs into that machine for the remake. So when the damaged part is being called, a signal go back to the operator on this machine allows him to know that, hey, these are the part that's being damaged. He goes in, print out a label, scan the program that he needs to on that machine and does the remake. So the main machine never stops to do remake. It's always in the same progress because the secondary machine does that, to handle it that way. So that's one way to be able to do it. But if you only have one CNC, still the signal can go back to the office for them to remake the part, send it back in the bottom, or could be sent to the guy at the CNC also, knowing which part he needs to remake over there. What you're doing is that you're getting a better communication in between all these departments that goes in and managing your damaged part. And also as François was explaining, you also get data information that we'll see a little bit later in the presentation there. The third thing that's really important to understand what we do for them is that, okay, it's good to have a tool that allows you to track information and get data. But if we're right and we're just asking somebody in the shop to push in when they start a job, push in when they complete a job, if they do not have advantage with the use of the software, you'll never get accurate data. So what we're trying to do is create tools that helps the operator in the day-to-day business. And one of the ways that we want to help them is to know how to group the parts coming out from the CNC. So what's happening by displaying the nesting screen is that automatically the system will also tell him where to sort the part for the next operating phase. So it could happen, let's say that if a part comes out, doesn't need no edge banding and just need to go to dialing, well, the system will say place it in bin A. And if the part only has white edge bending, let's say, well, we're going to say place it in bin B and etc. And let's say I have a part that only has color edge bending. Well, we'll say that part goes in bin C. So I don't know. I don't have to search around on the labels trying to find out what is the part to organize them, or just throwing that down into a rack and give the job to the edge bender to try to figure out which part he needs to edge bend. We're helping the flow for letting them know how to organize the part and make it simpler for the next operating system. So we're helping everyone in the process in their job just to be more organized into the flow and less moving with silos. So you can even take a different card for parts that doesn't need to go to the edge bending, go directly to the dialing machine, or need to go directly for the doors, let's say, or the drawers area. You can manage that kind of information because the system helps you organize and knowing exactly where things are into your shop. So before we jump in, Beatrice, is there a question that came in?
No question, but there's a comment about the sound. So maybe if you can just be closer to the computer or.
Yeah, I'll try that. Maybe like that. Is it
Alright.
better then? I'll try.
Yes, sometimes
Okay.
it goes down, but for
Goes
now.
down. Perfect. Thanks. So let's go on the second section for the sorting area.
All right, so we're here where we do all the automated sorting, or the intelligent sorting if you want. So integrating WebCab permitted us to put in place such an installation where we have different bins where we receive all the parts. Everything is all mixed up, but it doesn't matter because this is where we do all the sorting of the parts that will permit us after that to be able to put up the cabinets. So you can imagine that we never start putting up the cabinet together until all the parts are in place. So much time has been saved here. We make sure that we don't start putting up cabinets if there's one part missing because it was damaged or lost in the workflow of the factory. So almost instantly, once we put up all of this in place, we gained so much productivity instantly. It was quite amazing. So to say the least, we're very pleased with that. All right, so we'll see here where we have in the sorting department. So in this department, you notice that we've put in place seven screens, 7 computers, so which permits our workers, the employees, to be able to have access to all the different steps that is offered by WebCab. So here, for instance, we have instructions. So you see we have a 3-dimension view of the part. It could be of the cabinet itself. Like I said, instruction would permits the worker to know exactly, in this case here, you could know exactly what to do, in which sequence to do it. So we could even hire somebody with not so much experience, give this person a base of what they need to do. And if they follow what's at the screen, they will be able to do a very good job in putting this cabinet together. So it's been, again, I'm repeating myself, but it's been a huge gain for us. So yeah, we're pleased, we're happy.
So just to go back a little bit of resume of what we just saw right here. What's really important to understand with this sorting area. So what we're trying to do is really simplify the process going to the assembly. So we're taking part that goes into a different chaotic way coming out from the edge vendor. They're not really organized for the assembly, or maybe they had from the CNC organized from the assembly, but it won't necessarily help the operating aspect of the edge vendor. But in any case, what we want to do is take these parts that comes in a chaotic way and organize them for the assembly. So we're making sure to do a count before it goes into the assembly. Every bin that you saw into that fixed rack that we were seeing was representing a product. So the operator goes in, scans a part, and automatically was assigning a bin for that part to go in and making sure that it belongs to the right product. Once we have all the parts ready of that product, then the bin turns green to allow the assembly to know that he can start working on this product because he has everything in his hand to be able to complete it. The other thing we're doing in that factory that makes it a little bit more powerful is that we're also working with synchronization. So what's happening is that the big rack that we saw right here only received all the carcass of the cabinet. So we're talking about sides, stretcher, tops, bottom, back. It's the only thing that he receives, nothing from the front. All the doors, the drawers are going to different departments that are being handled over there. So what we want to create with that synchronization is that we only turn the green light for the assembly once we have all the parts of the carcass ready, and when the door and the drawer has been specified, ready, and sorted into a specific area inside of the bin. So we're making sure really that we can start a product that we're going to be able to finish across the line. And if a customer says, yeah, but my doors are back ordered, can I start working on it? Yes, you can. By putting these doors back ordered, automatically the system will also treat them, and you already know that you have something that's going to be back ordered, or maybe creating a service call into your job. So you're aware in advance of the decision that you're making to your facility, and everybody's informed at that moment. So Beatrice, I think you do have some questions.
Yes. So it's about the recut aspect. So any program allows operator to control recuts. They don't need to go back to office for renesting.
Yes, good question. So maybe I'll try to clarify a little bit more towards that. So in the main aspect, WebCab does not create the programs for the CNC machine. We work in partners with the CAD/CAM system. So to answer this question, what's happening when we're working with a CAD/CAM system is that when they push a job into production, well, they can send the nesting to the machines, and they're allowing also to send a unique program for every part on the other machine. So that allows, when we're saying that there's a damaged part, into the warning alert that goes into the remake machine, they receive an alert and they're able to load the right program, the unique program for that part to remake it. So they take a piece of the material left, place it there, and it's going to remake it towards that without needed to go back to the office to do the renesting. But what's really important in that is that it's not WebCab that creates the G code. We're creating the communication and the information in between. The information of the code still comes in from the CAD/CAM, but it allows doing this with WebCab allow really to know what we need to redo as a program. We're knowing the list of the items. We're informing that people that the part is coming back into production. Wish this response to your question.
I hope so. Thank you. We can
move. Is there another question that goes in?
Not for now.
Not for now. Perfect. So we're just going to pass in now to the assembly section.
All right, so we'll stay here where we do all the automated sorting, intelligent sorting. So this part here is the output. We were looking previously at the input. So here we're ready to put all those parts together to obviously form the cabinet. So let's keep in mind everything is synchronized. So we get the doors, we get all the face rollers. So we want to make sure when we're putting up that cabinet that everything will be put in a sequence where it's fully efficient. So there's no waste of time here. There's no way that somebody will start putting up a cabinet until where you visualize all the bins where when it comes green, it's a go. It's because it's time for that worker to be able to put up the cabinet. So the gain again is huge for us, because prior to implementing WebCab, sorry. Prior to implementing WebCab, we had huge racks, metal racks that we had custom made. We did back then. It was impressive, but no, we did back then put all the parts in those bins, but there was no way for us to know that we were not missing any parts. So you can imagine they would start putting up a cabinet, but we're missing a part. Where was it? Was it damaged? Was it even produced? We didn't know. So yeah, so the gain, I cannot say it enough, but the gain was huge when we put this whole section in place. Quite pleased about it.
Before we go even further in the other section, let's go back again and just resume a little bit what we just saw on the assembly. So like we were specifying about the assembly section, what's really important is really understand what is the green signal going in for the assembly. You have all the possibility to control the sequence that you want to give to the assembly line. So what's really important with production assistant is that we're able to specify, okay, because I have my doors ready, my drawers ready, my case part ready, yes, you can start to assemble, but I would probably want to control also on what cabinet I want the assembly to work on. So you can create rules to make sure that you always bring out your first job that came in that you want to come out. So what's happening is that the system will give green lights on the first project that came into the rack, the first sequence you want to go out. But if for one reason I have one product that has a damaged part, well, automatically we'll give the second priority job to the assembly line. But once that part of that product damage come back, we'll make sure that we release that product at first for finishing that job as a prioritized. And you can also give priority to your sequence, like start by the base cabinet, the talls, or the upper cabinet if you want to. Second thing that's really interesting in their assembly line, in their case, is before the case clamp, there's a guy that's going to pull out all the case part and only build the case part of the cabinet, then goes into the case clamp, and coming out from the case clamp, there's a guy that's going to finish the cabinet, putting the drawers and the doors. So what's happening is once they receive the cabinet out of the case clamp, the operator scans a part of the product, and automatically there's going to be an instruction that will show up and tell him where to grab the right door that belongs to that cabinet and the right drawer that belongs to that cabinet. So we're making sure that the guys are not trying to search around finding what is the right door, the right drawer I need, or remeasure them. It all synchronized because they have sorted before. The fact we do the sorting, we'll make sure that everything is organized and they grab the right information that goes on the right product. And the same type of instruction, what we're talking about, is that we're also able to add work instruction on what to do to the cabinet. Example, simple little thing. Let's say I have a carpet to place on the inside of the drawer. Well, some job you're going to place that carpet, some job you're not going to place it, or other little hardware like this. And then you write it down everywhere in your drawing plans and just cross your finger that the guy will see it. What's great about it is that we create business rule instruction inside of production assistant. So when they scan the product, if they see that hardware, automatically there's going to be a pop-up that's going to show up telling him, hey, you have to install a carpet in your drawer, and they have to confirm that they did it. So all these little things that are being forget that create your service call or not getting your right communication, well, you're able to create these business rules inside of the system to make sure that all of these information gets accomplished. Yeah, so I guess we do have some questions that came in.
Yes, so we use mobile racks to sort our parts. Does WebCab solution also work with mobile carts or just with fixed racks?
Fully, we do work with mobile carts. We have a lot of customers that work with mobile carts. We have a lot of customers that works with fixed rack, and we have some customers that work with mobile carts and transfer to fixed rack. It's all about philosophy and mentality of how you want to do your business. For WebCab, it doesn't matter for the system. Now, it's really a fact of process in your factory. It's been proven that if your goal is more like kitchen fabrication and you want to increase in productivity, it's been proven that a fixed rack will increase your productivity because you're not moving in silo. You don't have to wait that everything is being complete inside of a mobile cart to move to another workstation to do your job. You can push in products and parts directly in that fixed rack and start to assemble the cabinet as you're going to go through. One of the facilities that we show in a small little shop before another presentation, well, they were 6 in the shop and the guy was already assembling before even the last sheet of nesting was cut because everything was just fluid in their type of production that was going through. But for WebCab, mobile carts, fixed rack, it doesn't matter. The system works on both areas. It's really depending of what's your goal that you want to achieve in this. And by the way, the shop that we're visiting right here started with WebCab with mobile carts and transfer later into the fixed rack. Because when you move to a fixed rack, there's still the disadvantage that you have to move things around in your shop because you have to make things a little bit closer in their aspect over there.
Thank you. Another question came up. So special cabinet instructions are created where? Cabinet Vision or WebCab? I don't understand at what level these programs are connected.
Yeah, that's a good question. In fact, they're both related. Let's say it like that. So the instruction that you're creating, the rules that you're creating are created in WebCab. Now, what's happening is that we're using data from Cabinet Vision to create that instruction. Example, maybe a small little example. Let's say that tomorrow you want to change your way of doing business and you want to say every time that there's a sink cabinet, now the shelf, I want it to be shipped loose or I want them to be wrapped loose. So you want to have a pop-up, an instruction that says in WebCab, hey, you have to wrap these shelves loose, okay? So what's happening is that in WebCab, you're using what we call keywords. We're saying every time that you're going to see a product that has the word sink in it, then just the word sink. So it could be a 2-door based sink. It could be a 1-door, even if it doesn't make sense, but 2-door falls or whatever you want. Because it has the word sink in it, I want you to create that instruction that's going to say this. So what's the real relationship is that we're using keywords or key information out of the Cabinet Vision to create that business rule in WebCab to say this applies. Another example, let's say the carpet. Because you have the hardware carpet in Cabinet Vision, well, you're going to create a business rule saying every time that you see in a cabinet that there's a hardware that contains the word carpet in it, I want to have this instruction that's going to say install your carpet inside of your drawer. Wish this response to your question. there some other stuff?
Sorry, I was on mute. So thank you. We can move forward.
Perfect. So let's go to the next working station.
Okay, so this is here the last stage of the production cycle that we have here. So we've seen where we've seen the CNC where all the parts are cut and drilled. Then after that we have the edge bender. We have the section where all the cabinets are put up together and everything. So the wrapping is done over there. Make sure everything is placed well together. So we come here. This is the expedition part where there's a section here. We have a screen, so the worker can clearly see all the parts that needs to be scanned, everything that needs to be together to be able to make sure that once it gets ultimately to the job site, nothing is missing. And if there is something missing, that it'll know. It will know quite instantly. It will know exactly what's missing, so it can start looking through the factory, what happened. They will know exactly to what stage, which part or cabinet or whatever where it's sitting. So this is quite something, and we started using this quite recently. I was talking to a worker just a few minutes ago, and he's telling me how he saw the gain that it gave us, and how easy it is to use. It's very user friendly. So and ultimately, when we finish with that, so the system can generate a packing slip, which ultimately will guarantee to us, to the workers, to whoever's installing the cabinets, that everything is there. So for us, that's great.
So again, just a little resume of what we just saw with the shipping area. One of the biggest places where you get your best ROI is really at the shipping area. Reason why? Because it's often places that things are being forget before the delivery. So what we want to make sure and be knowing towards that is that we're making sure that everything is being shipped and placed in. It's not the product normally that people forget. It's mostly these little toe kicks, items that needs to be loaded up with the truck. So we want to create and get the information inside production assistant and making sure that everything is there for their delivery aspect, and then making sure everything is completed at that time there of area. So it allows really to know exactly what you need to load, scan your item as they're going to the truck, not forgetting nothing, but also we're able to help the shipper. When he arrives to get the things information, normally he has to walk through everywhere inside of the shop, trying to find out where things are. But there with the system, he can specify allocation where items are into the factory. So he knows that if they're shipping in pallets, he has 2 pallets to load up there. He has 4 kits over there of toe kits to load up. He knows where things are. He knows the amount that he needs to load up in the truck. And he making sure that he loads everything completed. The other big challenge that we want to make sure is not to load something that does not belong in that delivery. What happens if we deliver, let's say in Toronto, something that we load up into the truck but belongs in somewhere like in Montreal, where you're having a long delay. So we're controlling, if you're scanning something that does not belong in that delivery, the system will say, hey, wait a second, that does not belong in that truck. So we're making sure we're not loading specific things. And a lot of customers says, sometimes I don't know where to start with webcam. Well, this is one of the area where your risk is at the low risk to start with it, because it's really simple and you're getting a great ROI fast and helping your factory being more organized and more efficient with the shipping area as we're going there. Is there some question that came in there, please?
Yes. What about finishing parts and loose hardware? So maybe you can explain a bit more how we do process those aspects.
Yeah, well, loose hardware, finishing parts, there's different ways of managing it if you want to. So if we're talking about accessories part or hardware, loose items that go in there. So we do have what we talk about kitting. So we're able really to receive in them coming out, let's say from the CNC being cut, sent directly to the wrapping department where they can wrap it, create a kit with it, and specify where they're going to allocation and be ready to ship afterward without needing to be managed with all the assembly line process. Regardless the finishing part, well, there it comes with a lot of different ways. So some people wants to track all the finishing parts as they're going through. Well, we do have some technology like RFID technology that can be increased inside of your part, being able to, instead of scanning a barcode, we'll be able to scan the chip and know where to sort things, place them. Some people, if they have a low amount of finishing part, they use a traveler sheet instead of sheet where the operator is going to scan them and making sure to know where to place them to. There's different ways of managing them, but again, what we want to make sure is to a lot of customers, what they do with finishing is that they have a label being part out of the cutting CNC on the finishing part, and they scan all the parts before they go to finishing. Why? Because they count and make sure that everything is there before it goes in the finishing area. Because if you start doing your finishing or all your recipe without having everything, it costs a lot of money. So sometimes there's a control point before, and some people will afterwards add another control point or use only the sides and everything to be sorted with the cabinets into the rack. So they just have the travel sheet and scan it to be loaded, or with the RFID technology that can be used to be loaded into that area. Wish this responds to your question there.
Thank you. No more questions.
Perfect. So let's go in now with the dashboard area.
So there's another element that adds a lot of value to WebCab, which is the dashboard. So the dashboard is a really cool tool where it gives us a picture of a given moment of our business. We can clearly see if the workflow it's going at a rate where we're happy with it, we're pleased with it. We see how much work and cabinets we can generate. We see deficiencies that unfortunately are happening through the production, and we can identify in which department is creating those deficiencies. So we've decided to really put it up there. We have 2 big screens in the factory where employees, they can see it. I believe it's something that motivates them to push themselves and to see that we are improving those numbers. So it's dashboard, yeah, it's definitely something that we're very happy to have now within our production.
The dashboard is the result of all the data we go in to collect directly to the factory. So again, what we're saying is that we're adding tools, we're adding functionality to help the people earn day to day, but you as a businessman, you're able to get the information of what's happening to your workflow. Now, the dashboard is a tool for you to understand what's happening into your shop and taking the right decision. Cause of damaged part, you're getting a little bit the feeling with people saying, oh yeah, this is the reason why we get damaged part or that, but what is the real case? How much of these damaged parts are we really get? What station? Is it training that we need to do to the guys? Is it more handling on the machine that we need to do? Towards that, you're able to know and take the right decision to make it happen over there into your factory. So one of my customers, great example, he realized that 40% of his part has a damaged part because of the edge bander. Sometimes the guy was remaking it himself and tell nobody, or sometimes it was going past to the assembly and he had issues and tried to fix it on his own. By punching these information inside, he realized that 40% of these parts were broken because at the edge bander, there was just a little following element when it was a longer part, that the part was just falling down at the end of it and was breaking a little bit the edge bander. He just added a straight cable over there and fixed the issue. He fixed 40% of loss of time just by knowing what's happening. And a lot of customers say to us, yeah, I thought I knew what's happening in my shop, but now I do know what's happening and I'm taking right decision. Right decision on your damaged part and right decision also in real time with your bottlenecks and your goal that you need to achieve. With the bottleneck view, you're able to know how much product is being pending to go to the next station. If I have 40 products that are waiting to go to my assembly, why am I cutting steel? I'm creating a bottleneck. Take people, go help unfill what's happening to your assembly before starting to cut other elements. So the key point is to have the most balancing production that you can into your elements, and you're having tools to see that. We also, for some people that may have the question, we do have also what we call KPIs. So dashboard is good as a management aspect, but in a lot of factories, we do place KPIs that it's really simple. What is my goal I need to achieve? Am I achieving my goal? Red if not, green if yes. And you place these on BTVs into your shop and people knowing if they're achieving or not their goals. And you place these KPI, maybe not at all the stations, but at key point station in your shop because you want them to work together in achieving that element of goal. Yes, Deb.
We have a question. We have a couple older employees that are not used to work with computers at all. Will they be able to work with this system?
That's a good question. in fact, a lot of them become, how do you say that, ambassador, and that, well, come key points people into the shop. Sorry for that. I have a blank for the chat translation there. But they become a lot of times the key points people in the shop. Reason why is that the system is again there to help them in their day-to-day business. Okay, they're not there to really make it complicated. So what we want them is to scan, boom, get the information they need in front of them, and stop searching around, try to search around the parts that they need, try to ask again questions to the production manager, all the information in front of them. So most of these people, like I said, come key point on the use of the system and make sure that the other ones are also jumping in. A lot of time what I say to people is WebCab is a tool. Okay, it doesn't solve things when you just put it in. It's a working tool and you have to put people jumping in. And as you saw in the video, well, there was older people that were talking and were happy to talk about what was happening with the system to the advocates and explain what they were doing because they liked it. It helped them. It was not complicated for them. And again, also some people will ask, oh, can I put, let's say, scanning all the parts coming out from the edge vendor? Well, where you do have a value and where there's a value for the business. So if you don't need to scan all the parts of the edge vendor because the time of transaction is too fast in between your CNC and downlink, well, in that case, don't put it in the station. It has to help your people. It has to have a key value of placing that kind of interface in a specific station. That's the main important goal, and it has to help your people. And this is where you're going to get accurate data, accurate information, and people are just going to jump in and really be helpful for them.
Thank you.
Perfect. So let's go in on the conclusion.
All right, so this kind of wraps it up. We toured the factory, we looked at different departments, how we've been able to implement WebCab. So now I would maybe like to say, you know, we've had many challenges, and there's no doubt that WebCab was able to step up and help us to fulfill those needs. So there's been tremendous gains in implementing WebCab. Now, like I said before, I mean, we were able now to have a much better workflow in our production. We're able to trace the different parts where they are. We have this dashboard that is amazing for us, that gives us a good picture of what's going on in this factory. So gains have been there, challenges have been help us to overcome many of those challenges. We're very excited to what's going on, what's going to come in the near future, because we're going to continue working with WebCab to implement even more of those tools, because we know that it's going to help us take our business to another level. So the one advice that I might give, don't know WebCab, I would say, you know, don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask around competitors, ask people that most of the time are willing to open up like we're doing today here, but and to share with you what are the challenges. It's not to say it's a walk in the park, but I mean, I think that if you have, definitely if you have your team, your staff fully involved in what's going on, what you want to fulfill with that software, I think it's going to help tremendously. And so no question, make sure that they're fully aware of what's going on and involve them in that solution, but in that decision process. All right, I hope you enjoy the visit. It was a pleasure having you, being able to present Richard and Levesque Kitchen and Fine Custom Cabinetry, but mostly to present WebCab. So I thank you very much.
So just going back a little bit on the conclusion of what we just saw right here or talk about it, I think there's a quite important thing to understand. Like I was saying just a little bit before, and like Francois was explaining there, there is the fact that, you know, it is a tool that is there to help you in your day-to-day business, but you have to have people involved and help you into the growing of it and making sure that they're involved, having the production manager being implicated into the process or the integration of it. That's one of the things that helps a lot, and making sure that the tool really responds to your needs and then really able to help you with that flow to flow. as we're going through, just in conclusion with little numbers, because it was really interesting. I was talking to Francois last week about what was the gain, what was the numbers with production assistant and before that. And he was saying really, really interesting. Before production assistant, they had 30 to 40% delivery that was full before having production assistant. So what that means is that more than one project out of two, there were items that were missing when they were doing delivery before the system implementation. So that's a lot of service call that was created. And one of his mission when he did the integration was not necessarily to increase in productivity, but making sure that and better service for the customers and have a better quality of life for their employees into the shop being more organized. That was their main goal. So with production assistant, what happened is that he told me directly there on day one, they were achieving 70% of current right shipping with everything inside. And after 3 months, he can say now that they were at 95% of full shipping without item missing. That's a great, great step for them that really allow them to be better for their customers, better service also that goes to a better reputation in what they're doing as a business, because that's what they wanted to achieve. Second thing that was really interesting, he was saying before that they were creating, and don't forget that they're doing high-end kitchen, more complex aspect as they're going, and had 12 hours of overtime per week that they were doing for their employees. After the integration of the system, he was able to say that they were doing now 5 kitchen per week. So they increased in their productivity with zero overtime hours with their employees. So they were creating more project, more business without necessarily having to hire other people, and all in control. That's the most important thing for them that they wanted to choose, having a better control. So that's really numbers that really interesting and really happy to know towards their element as they're going to go through there. Yes, Beatrice, I think you had a question there that came in, right?
Yes, we have a paint shop. How do you track parts on which you cannot put a label on?
Yeah, like I was explaining a little bit earlier towards that, we do have technology like RFID chip technology that can be used, being placed on it. So that the RFID is really something that can be hidden on the hidden space on the part, and then having an antenna that you pass it through and it can read where belongs the part and be able to sort them, or having instruction, etc. that goes through. Some people, if they have a lower amount of parts, they will use a traveler sheet. So traveler sheet, just a sheet that has a barcode on it and be able to scan it. Also we're working on a new project where we're going to call the measure table, where it's going to analyze the part, allows to recognize what is the part for it to be automatically sorted or that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's type of technology that project investment, and also the amount of parts of finishing you do handle into your day-to-day business.
Great. And one last question. How easy it is to customize webcam to a shop's particular production structure? How easy it is to change one it's already set up? And I will image one might change the production structure after seeing webcam implemented. So I guess is it flexible once it gets implemented?
Yeah, totally. It is flexible. You're not stuck with the design or the aspect that you're creating with your station. We do have a lot of customer every year. They're rechanging their process. They're rethinking of how they want to do. They do a little bit change there, a little bit change there. And this is how it should be. Every year you should be challenging your process, your production, and making some little changes to increase yourself with other things that you saw. So webcam is flexible. You're not stuck. It's not a software that's being developed for you and you're stuck with what you have there. You have full access to the configuration. But it does happen that after a certain time, you don't remember how to do the configuration. So our team system, but you're not stuck with what you're seeing right here. It's all flexible and personalized to your needs, and you can make it evolve. And you don't have to also, other big thing there that can maybe respond a little bit another way. You don't have to start with the full package everywhere. It's a modular system that you can grow depending on your needs. And that's one thing that's really important. Start small and increase the software as you're going. Try to make it perfect at once. It's a little bit a harder job because there's some stuff that you want to change afterwards into the system. So make it with fixed, smaller steps a big area where you're going to have your right ROI, and then increase it with other working station as you're going to go through with the working of the system. But nothing is really static. You have all the possibility to modify it, adjust it. Instruction rules, you can change it whenever you want to. Station, sorting screens, everything, you have full control of it.
Great.
Is there
So
another
that's
question?
no more
That's
questions.
it, right? Perfect. So I would like to thank you all to assist today, and I wish this was really good for you guys. You learned a lot. That's the key point, and you saw a little bit what we can do for people that are already customers. I wish that you saw their little aspect over there. If you want to have more information about the product, I invite you to write at info@web-cab.com, or just reach out to your local representative directly there, and have more information if you want to have demos. And if you want to learn more about the other products like the planning tool and others, well, just write to us. It's going to be a great pleasure to answer your question and respond to your need, or directly to the right person that will handle you. So thank you very much. Have a great, nice end of day, and take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.